British Columbia Institute of Technology acknowledges that our campuses are located on the unceded traditional territories of the Coast Salish nations of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh.
Good afternoon and happy Monday. I'm Quinlan Curry and you're listening to BCIT News. Here are your news and sports updates to 3 p.m. The BC government has appointed a community contact to speak with Richmond residents affected by the Cowichan Aboriginal title ruling. The representative is going door to door to answer questions about mortgages, property sales, and permits following August's court decision. Premier David Eby says the province is working to ensure homeowners are protected amid what he calls a great amount of uncertainty. The Vancouver Fraser Port Authority says plans to dredge Burrard Inlet remain preliminary with costs still undetermined. The project would deepen the shipping channel under the Second Narrows Bridge, letting larger tankers load more fully at the Trans Mountain Terminal. Field studies begin in May, but environmentalists say the plan doubles down on Canada's dependence on oil infrastructure. Mounties in BC are investigating 2 incidents possibly linked to last week's cull of 300 ostriches in Edgewood, BC. Police say an expletive was smeared on CFIA office in Kelowna, and they're reviewing drone footage showing dead birds at the farm site. The CFIA says the cull was necessary after confirming avian flu. Both investigations continue. Thrift and Fun thrives as a non-profit store, along with taking donations. They're in the community making a difference. Our reporter Avia Boulay has more.
Thrift and Fund isn't just a donation-based thrift store. While it offers clothing and household items at affordable prices, the organization uses its earnings to fund community programs. These programs aim to support people lacking work experience and empower women looking to build skills and confidence. Melissa says the programs have made a real difference in many in the Tri-Cities community.
Our 2 main programs that we run, there's Thrift and Thrive, which is mentorship for people that haven't had a lot of work experience, or they might have some special ability that they need someone to help them a little bit more. And then there's Women Rising, which does a quarterly workshop for women to help empower them in various areas like social media, or it be setting boundaries. We also run a community support program in the store, and so if someone is struggling financially, they can choose up to 3 items twice a month, and we just have a binder and we fill out all the information, and that way they can take care of their needs.
As the colder months set in, Thrift and Fund continue to provide affordable clothing and vital community programs, helping families and individuals stay warm while building skills and opportunities. Avia Boulay, BCIT News.
Moving into politics, Conservative Party of BC leader John Rustad continues to receive calls to make room for a new leader. The latest comes in the form of a letter signed by 15 local executives and former candidates, including President of the Riding Association for Burnaby North, Corey Brooks, who declined to reveal his choice for Rustad's replacement. The Canadian Press has more.
Well, that's not really for me to say. I think we should have a competitive and thorough leadership race. This letter is just to get to that point, and then we'll let the membership choose.
Further along in local news, Abbotsford police helped border officials catch a suspected border jumper Friday near Farmer and Mackenzie Roads. An Air One helicopter and police dog were deployed to locate the suspect, who was later taken into custody by the RCMP. The Mounties have assumed control of the investigation. The emergency room at Mission Memorial Hospital has reopened after a 15-hour closure due to doctor shortages. Fraser Health says nurses were on site overnight to help patients and redirect those needing urgent care. Staffing issues have caused several similar interruptions across BC this year. Moving on to national news. Canada Post says it has submitted a plan to the federal government to transform its struggling business model into a financially sustainable postal service. The Canadian Press has more on the story.
Procurement Minister Joel Lightbound unveiled a suite of changes to the Postal Service's mandate in late September and gave the Crown Corporation 45 days to deliver a plan to right the ship. Those changes included adjusting mail delivery standards and implementing more community mailboxes. Canada Post confirms it submitted that plan to Lightbound on Friday, but only plans to share details after it's received Ottawa's sign-off. It says the plan would modernize the post office while protecting a service Canadians rely on. Michelle Zedekian, The Canadian Press.
In business news, many local Canadian wineries have been capitalizing on a market gap created when provinces removed American products from liquor store shelves. The Canadian Press has more.
Narek Narcissian says more tourists and day trippers came to his family's business in Ontario this summer, Holland Marsh Wineries in Newmarket. The vice president of sales and marketing at the outlet reports an uptick in visitors of about 10 to 15% compared to recent years. He insists the newcomers sought out local tourism opportunities close to Toronto, and already loyal customers doubled down on purchasing the local wines they loved. An association representing over 1,000 California wineries says U.S. wine sales to Canada fell by 91% this year. The California Based Wine Institute says the drop occurred after provinces and territories removed U.S. products in retaliation to President Donald Trump's tariffs. Don Mitchell, The Canadian Press.
So, the Royal Canadian Air Force says it will conduct several flypasts in communities across Canada for Remembrance Day tomorrow, including 11 in British Columbia. The Air Force says military aircraft will fly over commemorations Tuesday in Campbell River, Comox, Courtenay, Cumberland, Kamloops, Lanceville, Nanaimo, Qualicum Beach, Sydney, Vancouver, and Westwood. The aircraft used for the flypast will include CC-295 Kingfisher search and rescue planes and Cyclone helicopters. The Air Force says the flypast will also include the use of CF-18 Horned fighter jets over the ceremony at the National War Memorial in Ottawa. In international news, President Donald Trump this afternoon said in the Oval Office that he approves of the Senate deal that would end the government shutdown if it's the deal that he's been hearing about.
Based on everything I'm hearing, they haven't changed anything, and we have support from enough Democrats, and we're going to be opening up our country. It's too bad it was closed, but we'll be opening up our country very quickly.
Furthermore, same day, same office, President Trump told reporters that he swore in the new ambassador to India, and he will bring down high tariffs that were initially slapped on the country as punishment for buying lots of Russian oil.
The tariffs are very high on India because of the Russian oil, and they've stopped doing the Russian oil. It's been reduced very substantially. Yeah, we're going to be bringing the tariffs down.
And now moving along to sports. The Hockey Hall of Fame welcomes its class of 2025 tonight. Boston Bruins legend Zdeno Chara, who played for the team from 2006 to 2020, reflected on his path after 24 NHL seasons.
The roads that are not always smooth, not always fun, but you got to just stay with it, stick with it, and believe and have a hope and dreams and continue to go after them.
Moving on to the gridiron, a last-second touchdown lifted the Saskatchewan Roughriders to a 24-21 win over the BC Lions on Saturday's West Final, sending the Riders to the Grey Cup. Tommy Neal made the game-winning 3-yard grab with just 11 seconds left, capping a 7-play, 74-yard drive that erased a 4-point deficit. Saskatchewan now advances to face the Montreal Alouettes in Winnipeg on November 16th. The 2025 Grey Cup Festival is officially underway in Winnipeg, kicking off a week of events leading up to Sunday's championship.
Take me out. I know how it's gonna end, but it's too late to turn around.
Machine Gun Kelly, also known as MGK, will headline the halftime show. From luncheons and fan celebrations to a Brad Paisley concert, festivities will build towards the 112th CFL title game between the Rough Riders and Montreal Alouettes. It's a monster Monday night showdown tonight at Lambeau Field. The Philadelphia Eagles, 6-2, visit the Green Bay Packers, 5-2-1 on the season. Kickoff is set at 5:15 Pacific time. The Packers are reeling from a surprising home loss and will try to right the ship against a Birds team that's coming off a bye and on a roll. This game could have major implications for the NFC playoff picture. Many expect a good one. Elsewhere in the NFL, Joe Burrow returned to practice with the Bengals on Monday, opening the 21-day window for the franchise quarterback to return to the lineup. Head coach Zach Taylor says Burrow would not return for Sunday's game at Pittsburgh. The Bengals have lost 6 of 7 since Burrow suffered a toe injury in mid-September that required surgery. Elsewhere, Washington Commanders defensive tackle Deron Payne has been suspended for 1 game without pay by the NFL for hitting Detroit Lions receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown. He will miss Washington's game next Sunday in Spain against the Miami Dolphins. The Commanders, who are 3-7, have lost 5 games in a row. Changes have been made in the Big Apple. Gethin Coolbaugh from the Associated Press reports.
Just didn't get the job done.
The New York Giants fired coach Brian Daboll on Monday. 2 people with knowledge of the situation told the Associated Press. The move by ownership and general manager Joe Schoen was made 1 day after the Giants blew a late lead and lost 24-20 at the Chicago Bears to fall to 2-8 on the season. Daboll spoke after the game.
10-point lead there in the fourth quarter, and give them credit. They made a lot of plays.
New York has lost 4 games in a row since upsetting defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia at home in prime time. Offensive coordinator Mike Kafka has been named the interim coach. I'm Gethin Coolbaugh.
In baseball news, Cleveland Guardians pitcher Luis Ortiz is due in court on charges accusing him and teammate Emmanuel Clase of taking bribes. According to the indictment, the highly paid hurlers took several $1,000s in payoffs to help 2 unnamed gamblers in their home country win at least $460,000 in bets on speed and outcome of certain pitches. Expect mainly cloudy skies today. Temperatures holding steady and a high of 11. Those were your news, sports, and weather updates. I'm Quinlan Curry, and you're listening to BCIT News.
Stay tuned for more on BCIT's 1680 The Crow.
When I tell people that I studied journalism, they immediately say, oh, you want to be a reporter. But I think, in my case personally, I really want to go into magazines, PR, social media. And I think here at school we learn a lot of skills that allow you to go into that world, because you learn how to write for social media, social content, for websites,